It was 6 p.m. and I was with my friend Abby. We were both waiting. It felt strange, 2 young girls alone in Riley Park. The sun was setting and he still hadn't arrived. Mr. Jake was a very pleasant, kind, and caring man. He was a man of faith, or so he always said, and he regularly sent me money to buy things. He spoiled me a lot, and that's something not many men do. He hated young men, always thought they were self-centered and never kind. Mr. Jake was something every lady should have, and I was really thrilled. He had never asked me to go out since we started talking on Snapchat. Sure, he lived a bit far away, but he sent me money to go to a national park. I thought it would be a great opportunity. I dressed as pretty as I could, a cute dress, but not too flashy so my parents wouldn't notice. It was a secret. I left early and told them I was going to my friends. That's how I got to this moment.
Is he really going to come? He said so.
Soon, we heard the sound of a car driving up. It was an old car. I had no idea what model it was. Mr. Jake came out of the car, dressed in blue jeans, a blue jacket, and a cap. Mr. Jake was 45, and from the start, something about him made me feel uneasy. But both Abby and I decided to ignore that feeling. We're just being paranoid, I kept telling myself. He smiled at us sheepishly and said, "Let's go down the hill." We walked behind him through the trees, deeper and deeper into the forest. The further we went, the more distant the familiar paths seemed, and the mist began to envelop everything around us. The air was so still that even our breath seemed to bounce off the trees. The sun was setting and he didn't say a word. Where was that kindness, that warmth? I wondered if it was all in the chat. Worst of all, he hadn't explained why he'd invited me. Jake started to speak in a low voice, but his tone was different, almost threatening. He started saying strange things about how he knew the area and how other people used the park for rituals. People in this park perform rituals where they kill people and eat them. My heart began to race.
What kind of joke is this?
I asked nervously, but he just looked at me with that smile that now seemed much more sinister. At that moment, everything changed. He stopped dead in his tracks. He looked at us out of the corner of his eye, and that look, that emptiness, lifeless look, said, "They asked me to kill you guys for them." I had an overwhelming urge to run, but I was more afraid of what would happen if we did. My phone didn't even have a signal. Abby and I looked at each other in horror, realizing that we were too far from the park and there was no one around to help us. We tried to go back, but it was too late. He lunged at Abby, grabbing her arms and dragging her down to the floor. He was choking Abby with his bare hands. They were struggling on the floor. Abby's pupils rolled up. She was gasping for air. He took a knife out of his jacket pocket and stabbed on her throat rigorously. He had a rage on his face. This happened so quick that I didn't even have time to react. I was shocked and scared. He looked at me with evil in his eyes. That's when I came to my senses. I ran as fast as I could, only hearing the sound of his footsteps chasing me. I was writhing and screaming as he chased me. I felt as if it would catch me at any moment. The terror made me trip over roots, scraping my skin as the bushes tried to stop me. I was almost out, so close to getting away, but he caught me. He was very excited and said, "They'll be happy to have you." They? Who was he talking about? I wondered as I continued to shout, hoping someone would hear me. Suddenly, some people approached. I was relieved, but only for a few seconds, because one of them was carrying Abby on his shoulders. I only heard, "Don't kill the other one. What good is the sacrifice?" This situation got to me and I passed out. I didn't understand anything. When I woke up, I was tied in the middle of the forest. I was lying on a table, my hands tied, and they were all around me. There were so many men, and one of them was licking my legs. It was a cult that had massacred Abby's body. They were standing around me. I tried to get free, but I couldn't, and they stabbed me in the leg. I tried to scream, but I couldn't because my mouth was tied. They kept stabbing me in my legs and arms, and one of them took out a saw. The pain was unbearable. I felt myself losing consciousness, but then suddenly I experienced a moment of relief. The pain was gone. It was soothing. I thought I was dead, but I wasn't. They had cut off my legs and sewn me up. That would be my life from then on.